morning, everybody. Denise with Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Hope you guys are doing well. I want to thank you all for watching my video and subscribing, liking, commenting. I really appreciate that. And today we are going to make a cake. I've got some apples still from the apples that I bought at the Wooten Apple House in Pikeville, Tennessee. And we're going to make Jewish apple cake. Now this cake is so good. It's a very unique cake, and it has kind of a caramelized crust on the outside of the cake. It's something I've loved my whole life. My stepmom used to make it for my birthday. So I thought I'd go ahead and share this recipe with you. It's got a few ingredients, but it's really easy, and it's a layered cake. And what you're going to need is a tube pan. There's a tube pan right there. Now I've got it sprayed with the spray oil. If you want, you can put a piece of parchment in the bottom. Of course, you'll have to cut the hole for the tube, but that's what you're going to need. And I'll have the recipe in the description box, but you're going to need some apples, and the recipe calls for 6 medium. I'm using a combination of Golden Delicious and the wine sap. And I will have everything else in the description box. So let me peel these apples. You need to peel and core them, and you're going to do a rough cut. And what that means is that all of them don't have to be perfect, which is kind of neat about this. So it's a very rustic cake. We're going to chop them to about 1/2 inch to 1 inch in little cubes, kind of, like I said, a rough chop. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and core and peel these, and I'm going to save my peels and cores because I'm going to put them in the freezer and use them at a later date for some scrap apple jelly. And I've got a video on that too. So let me get to peeling these. Put this tripod down. And I know you guys probably know how to peel an apple, but I'm just going to go ahead and do a little demo here real fast. What I do is I cut mine, and I take the seeds out first. I cut them in quarters, take the seeds out, and then I just go here and take off that peel, and I'm going to put it in there. And let me go ahead and get a cutting board real fast. Always thinking I am prepared, and I always forget something. All my ingredients are out here. And I am just going to go ahead and slice this in two, and then I'm just going to kind of rough chop it. So nothing is perfect on that. So there you go. And that's what I'm going to do with the rest of the apples. And I will be back as soon as I've got them all ready to go. Okay, I've got all my apples peeled, cored, and rough chopped. So you can see they're all different sizes. So what we're going to do now is put this down here. And we are going to sprinkle some cinnamon sugar right over this. Now this is probably 1/4 cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So it is a healthy amount there. And you just want to kind of toss them so all the apples are covered. Boy, it sure smells good, man. I am a cinnamon lover, that is for sure. All right. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside. Put it over here. That was pretty easy. I've got my large bowl. Now I'm mixing this by hand. I'm not using my mixer, but you can use a mixer, no problem, for the batter part. Okay, and I've got my recipe over here, Mom's recipe. And what we are going to do now is look at the directions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put all the dry ingredients in one bowl. Okay, which I already have my flour, 2 3/4 cup of sifted flour, and it does call for sifted. So you guys can either use a sifter like this if you've got one on hand, or you can use something like this. put your flour in there and just kind of shake it, and it'll sift it through. And what that does is aerate your flour and make sure there's no lumps and bumps. Okay, so what we have to do now for our dry ingredients is we are going to put our baking powder, what we need. Make sure, guys, when you have baking powder, you look at the date and you make sure that it's okay. And this is October 13th, 2024. So we are good to go. And I need 1 tablespoon of baking powder, not soda powder, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here and just put it right on top of my flour. I'm going to put that down so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, and then 1 teaspoon of salt. And I've got that right here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and take a whisk and just kind of gently whisk it around. That way I still have all the air in my flour, but I'm just incorporating that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and trade out these bowls. Now, we need to do the wet ingredients now. So here's now I haven't made this in a long time. Okay, now in a medium bowl, we want to put 2 cups of white sugar, 1 cup of vegetable oil, and I need a 1/4 cup of orange juice. Now, this is freshly squeezed because I needed the zest as well, so I'm popping that in there. And the zest, 1 tablespoon. Okay, put that in there. Now, if you guys don't have a zester, my trick is just to use a box grater. Let me show you what that is. This was Willis's mom's. And this is a box grater. You see it has all these different sides to it. And I use this side for grating. And you just grate, go like that with your orange. And it'll come through here. And you want to make sure you don't get the pith or the white. You just want the orange peel. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, and vanilla. And this calls for 2.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Oh, it smells so good too. This orange and vanilla. 1, 2.5. You can use a vanilla extract like this, or you can use imitation vanilla extract. It's clearly up to you. Both are great. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and mix this around so it's all nice incorporated and that sugar is mixed with everything. And boy, does this smell yummy. Now I'm using this Danish dough whisk because it really does a good job. Just about anything that I want to make by hand. So there we go. All right, so now the next step is we are going to add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. All right. Rather, dry ingredients to the wet. That's what I meant. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and pop that down in there. All right. And we are going to mix this together. I knew I had this big bowl with the wet ingredients for a reason, and that's what it was. I just misread. And we are just going to mix it around till it's all incorporated. Now, this is going to be very thick at this point. And like I said, you can do this in a stand mixer or a hand mixer. But I like to do things kind of as old-fashioned as possible. Don't get me wrong, I love my stand mixer. See how thick it is? There we go. Now this is going to loosen up because I've got to add 4 eggs. And I'm going to add 1 egg at a time. Just trying to get all this flour, get all that flour down there. There we go. Nice and mixed together. And I'll tell you what, this smells so good. It brings back Such great memories. All right, we're going to go ahead and put 1 egg in. Okay, and we're going to mix that together. And you can see it's already starting to loosen up there. All right, do 1 more. We got 4 eggs, fresh from the hens this morning. I went in there and I said, "Hey girls, I need eggs. What you got?" And they all said, "Well, come and see." All right, and there's 3. That one was already kind of cracked. And the eggs will help with giving the cake a lift. They kind of work as a leavening agent. And I've got that little baking powder in here too. And it is a pretty big cake. Tall cake, I guess I should say. All right, and here we go. You see how it loosened up? Whoop. Boy, that orange really is nice and fragrant through there. Okay, there we go. Sorry for the noise. All right, so now what we're going to do, give me some room here, put my scraps over here that I'm going to pop in the freezer. Or if I have time today, I'll make some jelly. That's pretty easy to do. And like I said, I do have a video if you guys want to watch that. Now, I can make another video on it, but it was last year. And maybe I'll see if I can't recycle that. Okay, I've got this tube pan sprayed with the spray oil, as I told you earlier. We're just going to put a little bit of this cake batter in the bottom, and we want it to pretty much cover the whole bottom. So what I'm going to do is take a spoon, and I am going to see if I can get that so you see. There you go. Just kind of work it around. All right, might need a teeny bit more. Now, when you're doing the layers, you want to end up with a layer of cake batter on the top when you're finished. Okay. All right, that looks good. Okay. Now, it's just a thin layer on the top, on the bottom. Now, we're going to take just some apples and we're just going to sprinkle it around. And you're going to have 3 layers of apples and 3 layers of the batter. So you want to kind of be generous here. My stepmom, she grew up in Baltimore, and I think this is where she learned this recipe from. And I really love it because I'd never heard of it before. All right, now you're going to take a pretty decent size helping of, or serving of the batter. And don't be alarmed if it doesn't cover every apple. It's not supposed to. Believe me, when it bakes, it'll spread out and it will cover them all up. I'm going to put a little bit more in there. I think you guys can see what I'm doing. Oh, the cake actually, when you smell this batter, the cake tastes like that. All right, there's my second layer of apples. So I'm going to try to make this as even as possible for my next layer. So I've got my apples over here. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make another layer of batter. And like I said, don't be alarmed if it doesn't cover every single apple, because it will. And this is such a good, yummy, yummy cake. Willis has never had this before, so this is going to be something new for him. All right, I'm just going to kind of poke that apple down there. There we go. Okay. Just a little bit more, maybe. And this cake has the most unique texture, and outer crust. I don't know if that's what you would call that, but it's really yummy. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to go ahead and put my last layer of apples. And boy, do they look and smell good with all that cinnamon sugar on there. All right, there we go. Just kind of move them around so that they are all evenly spread. And here is our last layer of cake batter. I find that my fingers work a lot better than me trying to get a little spatula in there, but if you guys don't like that, you're more than welcome to use a spatula. I feel like our fingers are our God-given tools, that is for sure. And I use them. All right, just getting the rest of this out of here. I have got my oven preheated at 350. And when we put this in the oven, we're going to go ahead and put it in the middle of the rack. All right. I think I'm missing some over here. Try to get everybody a chance to have this delicious batter. Oh man, this looks so good. I'm also going to be making sourdough bread today. And if you guys are interested in a video on sourdough bread, the way I make it, I'll make it. I have a video that I made last year. But if you want another video, I will do it. All right, you guys, there is the cake. I'm going to wipe my hands off real fast, and we're going to pop it in the oven at 350, preheated. And it is going to cook for over an hour. Let me see here what she says. Cook 1 hour, 20 minutes. Now, my oven does run a little hot, so I am going to check it at an hour and just make sure. So let's pop this baby in here. Oh, gosh, it smells so good. There we go. And I'll let Google know that I need a timer, and we will be back. All right, guys, I'm back. The cake is out of the oven. It did take an hour and 20 minutes, so that's what it's going to be. And here it is. I'm holding it with my hands. Ah ha ha. Let me put this down. But here it is. Beautiful. See how the top and the is kind of like a crunchy topping? And that is from that sugar. So it's really neat. It smells so good. But what we need to do now is let it cool completely. So that's going to be a couple hours. And you're going to want to run a knife around the edge, all around there before you try to take it out of the tube pan. And then we'll let it cool, like I said, for 2 hours or until it's completely cool. And then we will serve it. And I'll see if I can't get Willis in here for a taste test. So we'll be back in a minute, or at least 2 hours, right? Hey everybody, the audio went off on my phone, so I just wanted to let you know I did get Willis in here for a taste test. And I'm going to cut the cake for him to try. And he's got his big glass of milk because he loves milk with his cake. So he's anticipating this cake that he's never tried before. And look how pretty that is. It's a dense cake, but it's a delicious cake. It really is kind of like a pound cake. So I want you to watch his reaction and see what you think about him trying this cake. Here you go. Yep. He loved it. I think he really loved it. Well, I just want to thank you for watching our video. And I hope you guys will like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you real soon from Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Bye.